Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about Dan Dix, who has a channel on BitChute called Press for Truth. Now, he used to have a channel on YouTube. I don't know if he does anymore. Maybe he does, I don't know. So Dan Dix is like, he's a truther who's from Canada. He lives in Vancouver, Canada, same place I live. Now, I recently watched a video of his, and he was commenting on the shooting in Maine, and he was saying, oh, a lot of these shooters hear voices. And he said, well, the problem is mental illness. So Dan Dix is, he's a controlled opposition fraudster and a liar. He's sort of, he's trying to go along with the cover story they have for targeted individuals about V2K, saying, he's saying, oh no, they don't have V2K. They're just mentally ill. He's enforcing the cover story of mental illness for targeted individuals. So he goes on in this video, and he goes on about the story about the shooting in Maine and the targeted individuals being mentally ill. Here's the video where he mentions the shooting in Maine and where he discusses the mass shooters and says they're all mentally ill and mental illness is the problem.
You may have seen my recent video on the shooter in Maine who killed 18 people after getting hearing aids and hearing voices in his head. Well, I reported on how the police knew about this guy, how he was actually put into a facility and had a mental health check done on him, and yet they had still, despite that fact, allowed this to happen. Well, new documents have just been revealed. New information is out that is proving that the police in Maine knew 2 weeks in advance through a literal memo that this man was armed, dangerous, and completely psychotic. So we either have a major failure of the police force in Maine, or we have yet another case of the powers that ought not be, as I call them, allowing this situation to happen for their own reasons. So I want to point you to a Hurricane Otis recovery effort that has been organized by Jeff Berwick of the Dollar Vigilante, and I would encourage everyone there to check it out. You know, I've been to Acapulco many times. I've got friends who live there, and there's a lot of people there who really need our help right now. So please check that top link in the description below to see where you can contribute financially to the recovery efforts there following Hurricane Otis in Mexico. So please check that top link in the description below. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is this shooting in Maine that happened. It was like just last week, 18 people died. I already did a report on it explaining how the authorities knew all about this guy. He had spent time in a facility, a hospital, an army-based hospital, like back in the summer. And they knew about this, but new documents are now coming out that show that the police were sent a file explaining exactly who this guy is, what his name is, that he's armed and dangerous, and that he's completely psychotic. Just take a quick look at this. Missed chances to stop Maine mass shooter Robert Card. Every police department in the state received this alert describing his psychotic plans with his family and reported their fears to cops in May. Police in Maine had multiple opportunities to stop mass shooter Robert Card before he murdered 18 people in a bowling alley and a bar last week. Newly released documents have revealed. In addition to a September alert that was issued to every police force in the state describing Card as armed and dangerous and psychotic, his own son and ex-wife also reported their fears to the police in May. Guys, the police bulletin, known as File 6, was previously reported on, but can now be revealed in full by Daily Mail. It was concealed on October 18th, a week before Card slaughtered 18 people in Lewiston, Maine, before killing himself. It was issued by the County Sheriff's Department on September 15th, the Sagadahoc County Sheriff's Department, after Card's colleagues at the Army Reserve Training Base reported concerns about him. And that's what I reported on last week, that his own Army reservists were reporting major concerns about this guy. He was removed, had the police called on him, removed from the facility and entered into a hospital, evaluated for his psychiatric situation. And now we're finding out they were literally told he's armed, he's dangerous, he's psychotic. Yet, like in Uvalde, it seems like they just completely allowed this to happen for, as we know, guys, and as I talked about in my previous video on this, for the purposes of gaining more strict gun control laws in the U.S. So that's essentially what this whole thing is boiling down to. And I had a lot of people asking me about the fact that, you know, he started hearing these voices in his head after getting, you know, hearing aids put in, which is quite questionable and strange on its own. But I have seen a number of these mass shooters say, some of them on video, that they hear voices. And I think it's demonic possession more so than, you know, any kind of covert operation of, you know, sending voices into somebody's head. I'm not saying that that's not real and that's not possible and that doesn't happen. This is something that should be looked at, but there are a number of cases of these guys hearing voices without any kind of hearing aid or technology around them. And in most often, more cases than not, they're literally talking about demon possession, even from their own mouths. So, just unreal that you literally have a demon-possessed, psychotic, armed and dangerous man threatening to shoot up his Army Reserve, already saying he's hearing voices and going to shoot up these places where he hears the voices, and then the police just stand back and do absolutely nothing. This is big. This is something that people should be aware about. So just wanted to bring this to your attention, because last time I did a video on this, I said, you know, it's hot. It's happening now. If there are any updates, I'll let you know. This is the big update today, guys. They not only knew about him being in this, you know, psychiatric evaluation in the Army hospital and all this stuff, like way back last summer, but his family wanted him, you know, put in back in May. And just 2 weeks before the shooting, they all basically got a memo saying the guy is, you know, armed, dangerous, psychotic. Go get him. Nobody did anything. Again, guys, guns are not the problem. Mental health issues are the problem. And as I said in my previous video on this, if you're making this about guns when this is very clearly a case about mental health, you're just being intellectually dishonest. So just wanted to bring all of that to your attention today.
So there you have him talking about saying mental illness is the problem, and then all these mass shooters hearing voices that just have mental problems. But the strange thing is, in September of 2018, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, he actually went to Ottawa, and he actually he went to the front gate of Canadian Forces Station Leitrim, and he made a video about Canadian Forces Station Leitrim saying that they're spying on everybody. So he actually made a video about Canadian Forces Station Leitrim, the Signals Intelligence Base in Ottawa, saying that they're part of the Five Eyes and they spy on everybody. So I don't understand this guy, because CFS Leitrim, they're the people who use V2K on people. So what is it, Dan Dix? Is Canadian Forces Station Leitrim spying on everybody with V2K and putting V2K in people's heads? Or is everybody just mentally ill, Dan? Anyway, Dan, I already know what you're going to say. I know you're a shill, and you hang out with that other Canadian shill, Jeff Berwick, and the third Canadian shill there for World Alternative Media. What is his name? Josh Sigurdson or something like that. I can't pronounce his last name. But yeah, so Dan Dix, Jeff Berwick, and Josh Sigurdson from World Alternative Media, they're three Canadian guys, and they all hang out with each other, and they're all shills for the Canadian government. They're fake truthers, and their job is to tell you 95% of the truth and 5% lies. So here's the video of Dan Dix from 5 years ago confronting the security guard at Canadian Forces Station Leitrim in Ottawa, the Signals Intelligence Base that uses V2K on Canadians.
Has become completely normal to cover up the camera on your laptop these days. Well, that's because more and more people are waking up to the fact that they're being spied on by places like this here in Ottawa, Canada. We're here at the Leitrim Canadian Forces Station, which has tapped into the global echelon system of a spying network that taps into the Five Eyes. This is a global spying network that's made up of the United States, New Zealand, the UK, Canada, and Australia. Ever since Edward Snowden blew the whistle on the PRISM surveillance system, more and more people have been questioning just how deep the government spying program goes, and they're starting to take measures to protect themselves, like encrypted emails, encrypted apps for messaging, and also by blocking the cameras on your laptops. The system also taps into the NSA, the National Security Agency, which we now know is watching everything you are doing online, your Google searches. They can read your emails, they can listen to your telephone calls. In fact, every conversation you've had, every text message, every communication within the past decade at least is being held in databases such as these facilities like this one right here behind me. More and more people are waking up to the fact that they are being spied on, just like that guy who watches Press for Truth. Make no mistake about it, these giant satellite dishes behind me are not there for broadcasting the football game or the next UFC fight. No, these undoubtedly will eventually tie into the global 5G network, which again ties into this global surveillance system. Hi.
Sorry, do you have permission to take photographs here?
I didn't realize I needed permission to film here on this.
I do. Unfortunately, I think there is restrictions. This is a Department of Defense.
Okay, I saw the no trespassing signs on the other side of the road, so I figured the road's public property?
It is, but this is actually a sensitive area.
Okay.
So we typically restrict any kind of photography material on anywhere within the space.
Oh, okay. Even on public grounds?
Well, if you're taking shots on the base,
right,
it's frowned upon.
On the base, sure. Yeah, but from a public space.
If you're taking shots from here, it's still an issue.
Okay, so where's the boundary line that we can...
I think you actually need to get permission, and that's my understanding. I've made a call into our security, which make these type of decisions. I'm waiting their call.
Okay.
But ultimately, my next call is to the MPs.
The MPs?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Military police.
Oh, okay.
Because we do have a lot of restrictions there, and we do need to maintain the integrity of the security of this area. So typically, photography it's frowned upon.
Okay.
So what is the nature of your photography, if you don't mind me asking?
We're with PFT, Press for Truth. We're doing a little report on this place.
PFT?
Yeah.
Okay. And that organization is something I can actually identify?
Yeah, it's online based. Yeah, you can look it up. It's Press for Truth.
Okay. And your name is, if you don't mind me asking?
My name's Dan.
Dan?
Yeah.
Last name?
Dix.
Dix?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't expect at this time, I don't expect there to be any significant issue, but there would have been a chance that your material would have been confiscated, and there still is that possibility.
Really?
Right now, this is an electronically sensitive base. No electronics are allowed within the premise of this base.
Okay.
That being said, when I had someone inform me that you were taking shots of the area,
mm-hmm.
That is a bit of a concern because it could potentially be a threat to our national security. Now, if you want, I can wait for the final ruling. I could be completely wrong, but that is my understanding.
About getting permission?
Yeah, well, no, permission or even being able to shoot from here.
Right.
But that is my understanding. So I'm just going to wait for her call, and I'll give you some feedback if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So but if I can ask you to refrain from taking any pictures until I understand it's okay.
Okay, so you'll let us know if it's okay
within
or not.
a few minutes.
Sure.
Perfect. Cool.
So, as you saw, we're apparently not allowed to film right here. They may have to go get security. I was just about to start educating the gentleman about, the fact that it's sensitive. People are concerned about their safety as well because of this place. These guys inside can be concerned about their safety, but we're big concerned about being spied on.
He's got someone coming down. They're going to talk to you. They'll know all the ins and outs, and if there's any concerns, they'll be able to speak to you. That if there's any way in which you can get access to all this, to the.
Sorry, who's coming down?
Someone from our what's called the duty watch.
duty watch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, they're the military people responsible for internal security for this facility.
Okay.
So they know all the ins and outs of the rules. I'm responsible for access control for the most part, but also all responsible for things that pop up like this. Where
Sure.
but it
This
should be.
person's here now, or?
Yeah, he's coming from one of the inside buildings. He'll be here in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
What's the nature of your story, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, we're just kind of checking it out at this point.
Checking what out?
The whole facility. Are you familiar with the Five Eyes program?
Yeah.
Tied into Echelon and things of that nature. Ever since the Edward Snowden revelations with the PRISM, a lot of people are concerned about the government looking in and spying on people, and a lot of people cover up their laptops. That's kind of becoming a normal thing because they're concerned with facilities like this that watch people.
No, I understand, but I guess I can't speak on behalf of the Canadian Armed Forces, but I do understand that there's a need at some point to monitor things. Exactly what they're monitoring, I'm not given that type of information, but given the type of world that we live in, for defense of our country, I mean, there's certain things that have to be undertaken.
Yeah. As I understand it, though, certain.
You laughed at that. I'm curious. I'm wondering why.
I just find it a little rich that there's illegals crossing into our country without being vetted, and the possibility of ISIS members coming into our country through that border, and nobody's monitoring it.
I know there's so many holes right now in our ability to protect. I mean, I'm not just a common citizen. I haven't worked with the armed forces myself. But at the same time, these guys have got a tough job. There's so many ways we're being attacked. It's not just about physical attacks nowadays. The information is the new weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So
they have rules and they can't step outside of certain boundaries, like monitor the Canadian people. As I understand it, it's supposed to be an international system, but I think this is being abused. But that's why we're here to investigate.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. At the end of the day, I'm just responsible for the security of the facility. I am aware of the nature of the program. I do recognize the value of it. So my job is to keep the integrity. Hi, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. I just got the phone call.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Hi,
these
how are you?
gentlemen are from
Dan.
PFT.
Hi, Dan
Okay.
Dix.
You? Okay.
So what's up? He said you wanted to talk to us.
No, I just got the phone call. So, just wondering. So PFT public.
Press for Truth. It's
Press for Truth.
Press
Yeah.
for Truth. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna have to, unless the commissioner has already taken everything, but because of this facility and with the signs, etc., that this is not your normal everyday area for taking photos. It's controlled access area.
Right. I was under the understanding that the other side of the roads was the trespassing area, and that the road is public property.
Well, when you get here, there, sir, yes. Here you got it's freedom of access and everything.
This is public property, right? That we're standing on right now.
Well, technically it's government property. Once you pass that sign there, sir.
Okay.
See? So when you're on that highway there, that's public property.
Right.
It's all taxpayer property, but now that you're in a controlled access area, sir,
Right.
they, photos, hey, that's fine, right? But you should not be taking photos of these. But it'd be nice to know, ID cards, etc., or whatnot. I mean, because this is a controlled area, right, sir?
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think. Well, there weren't any signs saying we couldn't be here. We saw the no trespassing, and we were like, oh, we better not go beyond that. So, figured we were okay on the public area, because when you think about it, like those houses over there,
I know, sir.
couldn't they be zooming in and filming this?
Yes,
but you
that's
would have
their
no
private property, right?
Right.
Whereas you're physically here, that's the difference, right, sir?
Right. I
Well,
understand.
as long as you stay back over there, that's fine, sir.
Yeah. Okay, we appreciate it. He was expressing his concerns, and we were expressing some of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Canadians being spied on and things of that nature. The Five Eyes networks kind of potentially abusing their abilities. I find it's supposed to be an international program.
No, sir, that's above my pay grade.
Right.
Just at this level right now,
Right.
I can understand my commissioner's concern. No one's called ahead public affairs from the military. No one's contacted the military public affairs to contact us.
Okay.
You can see where the concern is, right, sir? That there's people with cameras,
Yeah.
All right, well, we will get off the property then. And yeah, thanks for explaining it.
Oh, not a problem, sir. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Well, it's not liked when they are being watched. They don't appreciate it when we have the eyeballs on them. Isn't that interesting and funny? But you know, hopefully we woke some of these guys up to what they are potentially doing, and maybe they'll think twice about their career choice. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.
So there you have it. In the first video, which was just recently, he says, oh, all the shooters are mentally ill and they're hearing voices and mental illness is the problem. And in the second video, from 5 years ago, he's actually at the gate of Canadian Forces Station Leitrim, the place that actually is putting voices in people's heads with V2K, and he doesn't say a thing about it. He's obviously controlled opposition. And yeah, if you're listening to Dan Dix, just be aware he's a fraud and he's part of the system. He's part of this Freemason New World Order. Okay, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.